Tonight, a few leaves will make 3 quiet jars. Picture the soft rustle of a small bay bundle in your hands and a single inhale that feels like a green hush. That's our invitation. If you've ever found a jar of bay tucked away and wondered what to do with it, this episode is for you.
Welcome back to Earthy Remedy, where nature's wisdom becomes everyday wellness. I'm Fiona. Today's promise? By the time we're done, you'll have 3 simple, same evening projects you can actually finish tonight. A single cup of bay infusion for sipping or a light cooking splash, a tiny jar of toasted bay finishing salt, and a dried Laurel linen sachet to tuck into drawers or a pillow edge. I'll read the exact single cup and single jar measures slowly, and the full recipe and safety checklist are in the show notes if you want to follow along visually.
First, a little scene. There's a neighbor I think about, Marta. She bought a bundle of fresh bay after a Sunday market visit, tucked it into an open jar, and then life got busy. Weeks later, she opened the jar, and the leaves smelled a little dull, like a memory of something bright. She told me, quietly laughing, that she didn't want to throw them out. She wanted a small way to honor that herb without fuss. That small wish, not waste, but quiet use, is exactly what we're doing tonight. Why bay and why the gentleness? Bay laurel carries volatile aromatic compounds, think cineole and mild camphor-like notes, that live in the leaf's oils. The trick in a kitchen is to unlock those aromatics without overcooking them into bitterness. Short, gentle heat releases the green perfume. Too hot, too long, and you lose nuance. The science behind this is simple. Many of the pleasing volatiles are heat-sensitive and soluble. Brief simmering or a quick toast moves them into water or salt without extracting heavy tannins. Also, and this is important, we're not using concentrated essential oils tonight. Those are highly concentrated and can cause irritation or overwhelm a small home ritual. Instead, we'll use culinary leaves and gentle extraction methods, an infusion, a short toast, and a fully dried sachet. The bottom line is, subtlety keeps these practices safe and lovely.
Who was this suited for this evening? If you enjoy savory herb craft and slow kitchen rituals, you'll find these 3 projects rewarding and low waste. If you have fragrance or respiratory sensitivity, consider skipping the sachet or placing it at a distance from sleeping areas. Pregnant listeners and people on certain medications should avoid regular internal use of aromatic concentrates without professional guidance. Tonight's Bay Cup is a light occasional sip or a small cooking splash, not a therapeutic dose. If in doubt, check the show notes for a full caution list.
Quick overview before we dive in. Yields and what each does. The Bay Cup, approximately 240 milliliters, a single warm cup to cradle. Toasted bay salt, a small 2 to 3 tablespoon jar, a finishing salt for a little lift on grains or roasted veg. Linen sachet, 1 small muslin pouch filled with dried laurel fragments for a faint kitchen green hush in drawers. If you want to make all 3 tonight, set aside about an hour, but you can also do just one ritual in about 10 minutes. All right, ingredient lists. I'll read each item slowly so you can jot them down or pause the episode. Full recipe and photos are in the show notes. For the Bay Cup, 2 to 3 fresh bay leaves or 1 to 2 dried bay leaves, plus 240 milliliters of water and a pinch of flaky sea salt. For the toasted bay salt, 2 to 3 fully dried bay leaves, 3 tablespoons of flaky sea salt, and an optional 1/4 teaspoon of lemon zest. For the linen sachet, about 6 dried bay leaf fragments and 1 teaspoon of dried chamomile or lavender, if you like a softer floral note. Equipment, a small pot for the infusion, a fine sieve or cheesecloth for straining, a small skillet for toasting, a mortar and pestle or spice grinder for the salt, a sterilized 2 to 4 ounce jar for the finished salt, and a small muslin sachet for the linen pouch. Simple things, easy to find. Now we'll walk step by step. I'll number each step and pause between them so you can cook along. If you want to do the Bay Cup first, we'll start there. If you're doing all 3 in sequence, you can make the cup first and the salt while it simmers.
Bay cup. Step 1. Rinse and pat your fresh leaves gently if using fresh. If you're using dried leaves, just measure them. Dryness matters less for this infusion than for the sachet, but avoid leaves that smell musty. Step 2. Pour 240 milliliters of water into your small pot and bring it to a gentle simmer over medium heat. You'll see small bubbles gather at the edges, not a rolling boil. Step 3. Add your measured leaves, reduce the heat to low, and simmer gently for 6 to 8 minutes. You'll notice a soft green steam rising and the kitchen taking on a bay leaf perfume. Step 4. Remove from heat and let the cup steep off the stove for 3 to 5 minutes, then strain through your sieve into a cup. Taste it plain first. It will be light, savory, quietly aromatic. If you'd like, dilute further as a sipping example. 1 part bay cup to 3 parts hot water for a very mild sip. Or use a tablespoon or 2 as a small savory splash in a bowl of grains or soup. A few practical tips for the bay cup as you sip. If the flavor edges toward bitter, you simmered too long or used too many fresh leaves. Next time, shorten simmering by a minute or drop 1 leaf. Refrigerate any leftover infusion within 2 hours and use within 48 to 72 hours. If it smells fizzy, cloudy, or off, discard it. These simple spoilage cues keep small batches safe. Now, toasted bay salt. Step 1. Ensure your leaves are fully dry. You can finish dry them in a low oven at 60 degrees Celsius, which is about 140 degrees Fahrenheit, for 30 to 40 minutes, or air dry them until crisp. Step 2. Heat a small dry skillet over low to medium-low heat. Add the dried leaves and toast them for about 20 to 40 seconds. You're looking for a lifted aroma, not browning. The scent will brighten. That's your cue to stop. Step 3. Remove the leaves, let them cool fully, then pulse them with 3 tablespoons of flaky sea salt in a mortar or grinder until the salt is flecked with leaf fragments. If you're using lemon zest, add a 1/4 teaspoon of zest at the end and pulse once. Then jar it in a sterilized small jar. Step 4. Label the jar with the date. The toasted bay salt will keep for weeks if kept dry. If moisture gets in, discard. A couple of seasoning notes. Start light with this salt. Bay is aromatic and a little goes a long way on buttered toast or roasted vegetables. Think of it as a finishing lift rather than a main seasoning. Finally, the linen sachet. Step 1. Confirm everything is completely dry, the bay fragments and any chamomile or lavender. Moisture is the main risk for spoilage in sachets. Step 2. Gently crumble your toasted or fully dried bay leaves into small fragments. Combine about 6 fragments with 1 teaspoon of dried chamomile or lavender if you like. Step 3. Fill a clean muslin pouch. Leave a little air so it breathes and tie it securely. Step 4. Before placing near linens or a pillow, perform a fabric patch test. Press the sachet inside a corner of a sheet, inside a drawer or closet for 24 hours. Then check for any staining or a strong reaction. Also, do a 24-hour skin patch on an inner forearm if you plan to keep the sachet very near skin or face. Smear a tiny bit of the crushed dry herb on the arm, cover with a breathable adhesive, and observe. If any irritation, redness, or unusual sensation occurs, do not use the sachet near skin or pillows, and consider keeping it in a jar instead. Storage and serving. Briefly, label everything with the date. Bay cup goes in the fridge and is best consumed within 48 to 72 hours. Toasted bay salt is shelf-stable for weeks if kept dry in a sealed jar. The linen sachet will smell fresh for months if truly dry. If it ever smells off or musty, remove it and compost the contents instead of using it near clothing or linens. A few sourcing notes. Use labeled culinary bay leaves from reputable vendors when possible. Avoid unknown foraged material unless you have an expert confirm the species. That lowers the risk of misidentification or contaminants. And remember, we're celebrating subtlety. Short heat, small measures, and respect for dryness will keep these rituals pleasant and safe. Let's take a sensory moment now. If you made the Bay Cup, cradle your mug with both hands. Breathe in slowly. Let the green, slightly camphorous aroma fill the front of your nose. If you made the toasted salt, lift the jar and tilt it close, noticing the mineral sea salt note beneath the Laurel aroma. If you made the sachet, hold it at arm's length and then bring it slowly toward your chest. Gentle, not near the face, until you've completed the patch test. These tiny pauses are part of the ritual. They teach you how the plant wants to be used. Before we close, a calm checklist to remember. Dry fully before jarring or sachaying. Label with the date. Refrigerate aqueous infusions quickly and use them within 72 hours. Perform fabric and skin patch tests for sachet proximity. Avoid concentrated essential oils for these home rituals. And if you aren't sure about a wild harvested leaf, don't use it. Small care preserves the quietness we're after. Try this. Pick one of the three, just the Bay Cup or only the toasted salt, and do it this week. Notice how one small act of stewardship, the simple making and labeling, changes how you reach for that herb in the future. It's not about perfection. It's about learning to listen to the plant and the pantry. If you made something tonight, I'd love to hear about it. Send a voice message or DM us with what you tried, any variations you made, and how it smelled in your kitchen. The full step-by-step, substitutions, and a safety checklist are in the show notes, along with photos of each finished jar. If you enjoyed this calming kitchen practice, subscribe to Earthy Remedy so you don't miss the next small ritual. Listen to your body. Trust the earth. Feel the difference. Good night for now, and I'll meet you in the next quiet recipe.